Hi, my name is Jen. Welcome to my channel, All My Plants. Today's video, I have the plants that I enjoyed growing the most in 2024. I'm not sure how many it is, and just because I enjoyed growing them the most doesn't mean I grew them the best or that they were the easiest. Just that I enjoyed growing them the most. So I'll start with one I don't really grow a whole lot of. This is Begonia Magic Carpet. And it probably doesn't look that happy. I get it. But I do love growing it. It's a weird one. I only grow, I think maybe 5 varieties of begonia, and they're all cane type begonia. And I don't know. I do really like them. I do. And they've been generally easy. Generally. This one here, it's constantly flopping. It's the thirstiest begonia I have. And I kind of don't mind that it's flopping and crawling more than it is climbing for a cane type. I really like the weird little leaves that grow out of the leaves. And I also like the red backs, of course. So it's been a good begonia. It's just very thirsty. I have it potted in something much larger than it came in. And it's ceramic, but it's still very thirsty, very thirsty. I feel like I just watered it and I think I could use water again, so I'm going to set it aside for that. I haven't had any pesty issues or anything on this. My biggest issue has been letting it dry too much, but I do like it, as weird as it is. I don't know, it's pretty. Another begonia I'm trying to grow recently, this is I think my newest. That might be the one I've had the longest currently. Not sure. Yeah, it is. And this is the newest. It's Begonia listata. And I do like this quite a bit. It's that kind of neon stripe down the center that I really like. And once again, it also has the blushing backs. It kind of wants to flower all the time. The flowers are the least impressive on this particular begonia. It looks like a clamshell and it just kind of opens a little. So least impressive of all the begonias I have as far as the flowers go. But pretty impressive as far as the foliage goes. I really like this one. And so far it's been pretty easy. I think I mentioned that it looks thirsty all the time, even when it's watered. So I'm not sure if this is like a high humidity begonia or not. I'm keeping it at about between 40 and 60% humidity. That's usually the best I can do up here. And it kind of always has a little bit of water underneath, so the roots sweat. The root area. I don't know if you can see. But I mean, it seems okay. It still grows, but it just seems a little, I don't know, like it could use something that it's not getting from me. I don't really want to keep it in the cabinet forever, but it kind of acts like it wants to be in the cabinet. Higher humidity than what ambient is. And the next one is Syngonium. Not specifically this Syngonium, but I haven't had too much problem with this Syngonium. This is Syngonium Milk Confetti, which I gotta be honest with you, here's one that's kind of open. It looks just like Syngonium Confetti to me. I see zero difference. Zero difference between the plant I bought 6 years ago as Syngonium Confetti and this one that I bought a year and a half, 2 years ago as Syngonium Milk Confetti. The only thing I can say is this one seems mighty thirsty, but it could be because I have it in a very chunky mix. But what I mean by very thirsty is it takes a long time for these leaves to unfurl. You can see a bunch of them still kind of twisted up. Very much twisted up. And if I had to guess, it's just because it's not getting enough water. I don't know. It has been a very slow grower also, but I think the other, like the regular Syngonium Confetti was too, if I recall. So I don't know. I don't see any difference, but it grows fine. I have enjoyed growing it because despite it drying to a crisp, the soil being very, very dry, it really hasn't been too upset about it. You can see a couple dead leaves there at the bottom. 4. and I've had it for about a year. At least a year. I don't know. But I think this particular Syngonium has been the one I've enjoyed growing most. And it was cuttings from my original Syngonium albo that was on a pole. Maybe last year I cut it down around this time, the whole thing, cut it up into single node propagations. And this one is mostly reverted. And I know it's messy, but I think that's what I like about it so much. And most of this one is reverted. This one's got something weird going on. Look at that. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a weird thing going on. I don't see any pests, but that's weird. That is definitely weird looking. And the rest of it looks fine. It is mostly green, but I think, I mean, mostly green plants are the plants that are going to grow the best, right? And while it's crazy looking, I love it. It grows, it usually sits on the shelf that's above, it's a 12-foot long shelf above my pellet stove. So it's very dry. The humidity might be about 15-20% up there. It doesn't care. Now, it is sitting in a very small pot, very root bound, and it does usually have a little bit of extra water in the pot. But I mean, I didn't clean this up at all before I brought it up here. There's no dead leaves, no crispy bits. All the leaves are whole, well, except for the ones that the bugs chewed in the greenhouse. But aside from that, they're all whole and not crispy or weird or anything. So yeah, I kind of love reverted Syngonium. It's a good one. Reverted plants grow better than variegated plants. Fight me. I mean, they do. They do. They just have more of what they need. It's so pretty. So love that. And here's the one I have growing on a pole. So this one again is mostly variegated. It has a few leaves that kind of are showing some nice variegation. But I'm gonna eat it. Yummy, yummy. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. It's growing nice big chunky leaves. I think there are only one vine has grabbed, but there are 3 in here. So the other 2 may or may not get going. They were all kind of variegated to start. They're mostly reverted. They're mostly reverted. And that's okay, because it's still growing really well. And I love Syngonium. I know I've said it before, but I haven't changed my mind on that. It's just very pretty. So, can we see any roots in the back? Yeah. If I don't drop it in the floor. Woo! You can see some down in here. And up in here there's a little, they're kind of throughout here. Some over here. I don't know. It's doing okay. And this has actually been growing in an unheated room downstairs. I think, if you saw the video where I was I think I was vlogging plant chores over a period of days, and I moved my desk into what is currently my living room. This is living on that. That's an unheated room with one window, 20 feet away. So, it's doing okay, considering. Another one I've really been enjoying growing this year is basically most of my epipremnum. I have a ridiculous amount of epipremnum. I have Global Green, Skeleton Key, Cebu Blue, Baltic Blue, Jasenia, Marble Queen, Snow Queen, which I think is also Marble Queen, the yellow one, which I can't remember the name of. I don't know, I have a lot of them. Neon, Pearls and Jade, and Joy. I have probably more pothos than I have anything else at this point. But anyway, this is Epipremnum Baltic Blue. And, I was getting ready to say, I think its last split leaf went. Oh, it was growing in a hanging basket for a very long time. And then I finally got around to propagating it and putting it on this pole. And while it has not yet fenestrated again, I don't know, it's very pretty. It's very pretty. It's kind of dark and glossy and just very pretty. And it is grabbing this pole. There you go, you can kind of see maybe some roots in there. And it's actually been on here a very long time, considering that that's all I see is like four roots. But it's also been growing in an area that at the warmest it's about 68 degrees, at the coolest it's about 63 degrees at night. So it's actually doing great. And I kind of love it for that, for its tolerance of all my nonsense. It's very pretty. And I say grabbing the pole. Those are the only roots I see in the pole, but I can see that all four vines that are on here are grabbing the pole. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad. It is doing well, and I think by the time it gets to the extension, when we get there, I think it'll be doing great. Marble Queen. Love it. I've only ever grown it hanging. Jasenia. Just recently decided to put it on a pole. It's doing okay. Cebu Blue. It was recently going on a support, but not a pole. Like, it was on a cocoa core. It wasn't doing great on there. So yeah, Cebu Blue. I also have it in a hanging basket and a trailing pot. Epipremnum Skeleton Key. Not being very skeleton key yet, but still pretty. It was trailing. Very small leaves when this plant trails. Very small. Dainty, even. And Global Green, which I've just recently fallen in love with again since putting it on a pole. I had it trailing forever. I really do like it. It's still very small. It's small and not very big. It was bigger down here. I don't know. I'm patient with it. It's fine. And Syndapsis. Basically all of the Syndapsis. This is Syndapsis Jade, which I think I've had not just this one, but a couple of them for a few years. I have one on a pole. I have this one trailing. And I just recently got the variegated. This one's thirsty. You'll have to forgive it. But the leaves are pretty large. Pretty large on Jade Syndapsis. And I do like it. I do like it quite a bit. It's a lovely plant. Pardon the yellow on that one. I don't know what's up with that. But it's been a good grower. I've propagated this several times. It's just a good plant. It's a really good plant. It's a patient plant. It does good in pretty highlight. I think the leaves might be a little smaller in highlight. Maybe more narrow. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, it does great. I love it. And then this is Syndapsis Platinum. I think I like Syndapsis so much because they kind of curl and let you know when they're thirsty. It's a thicker leaf. It's like thicker than most philodendron or pothos. And they also have kind of thick roots, very similar to pretty much most philodendron, I'd say. But yeah, they're really tolerant of wide conditions, light, humidity, you know, whatever. And I think that's why I like them so much. I really enjoyed growing all of my Syndapsis this year. So I have this one, I have the Jade, and I have a couple others like in a Frankenpot. This is the Frankenpot, and I'm not sure what's survived in here. I know we have Exotica. This is growing out in my gazebo. You can tell by the bug-eaten leaves. So yeah, I don't know what that particular type is, but I bought that one as special because it's what it was. So there's Exotica. I want to say it was like, it's the pixelated looking one. Oh gosh. Splash, Satin Splash, I don't know. I do like the Exotica though because it gives very big leaves with very little effort, even hanging. Even hanging, the leaves are nice. I also had Silvery Ann. I'm not sure if that's still in here or not. I don't think so. It just looks like the one kind of pixely looking one and Exotica. It was a full pot once upon a time. except for the bark I'm dumping on the floor. Some of it's definitely died off, but yeah, I don't know what that one is. I have that one, and I have the Exotica still in there, so I'm okay with it. It's pretty. It's pretty. It hasn't asked for much. Like I said, it lets me know when it's thirsty. It doesn't require high fertilizer. Like a lot of my plants, I really have to remember to fertilize them or they suffer. This is not one. And then there's this one. I really don't grow spider plants. This is chlorophytum. I can't remember the exact name. I'll put it on the screen down here. But I'm pretty sure it's called mandarin plant also. I've had this for a few years. And I can't say it's breaking any records as far as the speed of its growth. Oh look, there's a Hoya leaf down in there. That was sunrise, Hoya sunrise leaf. But this has been so neglected. I'm sure that there's times where I haven't watered it for 3-4 weeks. And don't get me wrong, it droops quite significantly when it's thirsty. But we've not lost many leaves. We do have some that are beat up, for sure. They're beat up, they have black tips, and there've been all kinds of crunkle. I've dropped things on this plant. It sits on my stairs, so it gets kind of low light, it gets neglected, it gets dusty. But look at it. It's not that bad considering. And I just give it regular tap water. I know a lot of people say for your spider plants, give them filtered water or whatever. Nope, tap water. Tap water. This is the only one I grow currently, chlorophytum that I grow. There was one that I wanted. It was like a reverse variegated spider plant. I was seeing it early this spring at like Lowe's and Home Depot, and I didn't grab it. I don't know why, but I didn't. This is the only one I have, and I'm okay with it. It's the color. It's that orange. You don't see that often in house plants unless you're growing croton, and I don't do well with those. So chlorophytum it is. This one has been pretty easy. Like I said, I can't say that it does a whole lot real quick, but I've never had any pests on it. I hauled it on this channel probably a couple years ago. There went my drip saucer. A couple years ago. And like I said, it was flowering. It does flower kind of profusely, and I don't think they look great, but overall, easy plant, happy plant, looks good plant. I have not had the easiest time with my alocasia overall. This is Alocasia Dragon's Breath, and I just got this spring in a trade. And it had died back to the corm when I switched it to pawn. I see a couple new roots in there since I've transferred. I don't know if you can see. It's probably focusing on my face. But there are some new roots in here. And I don't know. That's just nice. That's real nice. So this one has been a pretty steady grower since it started growing again. It has 2 new growth points in here currently that are getting ready to unfurl leaves, and I can see a third kind of down in here. You probably can't see that, but there's another one down there, I promise you. I don't think, no, I've never even treated this plant for anything. There's no systemic or anything. I do have a little bit of yellowing on this one leaf. This is the oldest leaf on here. How long it's been there, I couldn't tell you, but I think that's the only one. And that's pretty good for me with an alocasia. I love this though. It's that long, that long skinny leaf plus the color of it. It's a very nice one, humble opinion. Very nice. I'm so thankful for this. You know who you are that I got this from in the trade. I really love it. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And like I said, it's just never been giving me any trouble. That's not to say no alocasia has ever given me trouble, or that every alocasia has converted upon this easy, because they haven't. But overall this year, I've had a much better time growing alocasia than I have any other year. And I think a lot of that is pawn just because of my crappy watering. So This is another one. This is Alocasia Dawn. I got it from the same person in the same trade, and this one has been even more resilient. It never even slowed down when I transferred it to Pawn. And the variegation, that's pretty. That's real pretty. I also don't think I've ever treated this for anything. It might actually have some spider mites now, but it's kind of sitting in the Alocasia corner over here where spider mites are a thing. But really, I mean, can I say that this plant's taken a hit from it? No, I really can't. This leaf here, when it came in, it had this kind of red. I don't know if you can see it there, right in there. And then also up there. At first I was like, did pests find it that fast? But no, it's just kind of stayed kind of a reddy, rusty color. A reddy, rusty color since it came in. So I don't know what that's about. But it's not crisping up or anything. And it still looks gorgeous. It's real pretty. It's real pretty. So yeah, that's another one. This one's probably been the easiest one ever, which surprises me because my Okinawa Silver looks kind of so similar, has not been nearly as easy as this one. Transparency mention for Alocasia that I have not enjoyed growing at all. Tandarusa or Jacqueline. Okay, I burnt it. Fair enough. I did that. It grew into the grow light. I wasn't paying attention. It also had spider mites. Maybe you can see the yellowing on there. It also had root mealies recently. So it was in Pawn. I put it in another thing of Pawn. But I don't see any root mealies in here. And I do see new root growth. There's some. There's some. I'm scraping it all over the ceiling. There's some over here. So there's new roots in there. And I don't see any root mealies running around in the Pawn. And you can usually see them. They don't hide that well. They ain't that smart. So, I don't know, but I think this was newer, this second little thing here, and whatever it was, it failed too. I don't know, I would love to get a new leaf on this thing. But yeah, so while I say that I've really enjoyed growing Alocasia, this one I have not. I have not enjoyed that at all. I'm still growing it because I have hope that someday in the future I'll enjoy growing it. Today is not that day. So just like I say Alocasia in general, also Maranta, Calathea, Tenanthe, those in general. I've had a better year with those than I have previously. I'm not even sure which this one is. Calathea roseopicta, maybe? Dottie? But it's a really big one, whatever it is. It's pretty big. This one I got as a rehab with mealy bugs. It had mealies. And it still is kind of suffering the effects. Some leaves still come in kind of crisp off, and I'm not sure if that's from the mealy bugs themselves or from my constantly spraying it and treating it. But I see some new growth at the base, like some new spikes. Maybe you can see down in there. We still have, I left the old damaged leaves on. I don't know if you can see that one. I just showed you one of the newer ones that still had damage. I haven't fretted too much about it as long as I don't see active mealies, which I haven't in a while now. And I don't know what the difference is. I've had plants, these, Calathea, Maranta, whatever, completely crash, and not even been able to tell why. I think I kind of know now. I think they get flat mites, kind of like Hoyas do. I know they get spider mites. I know they have mealybugs. Like, those are things that really seem to love them. And thrips aren't unheard of either. But I don't know, I've just had a better time with them this year. This one's still in soil and not in systemic. But I do keep it regularly watered, and I do treat it pretty much every time I water it. Kind of like I do most of my plants at this point. getting treated, I say treated, it's getting a preventative spray. Alcohol, neem, you know, whatever it is I have on hand. Captain Jack's. This is another one that I've shown recently. It has flat mites. I'm not sure which it is. I wish I could tell you, but I really don't know. I buy them a lot of times off the half dead rack. And we have some crispy bits. This was much bigger, but it has new growth. I haven't clipped them off yet. I guess I will when I'm done here. But this one's in pawn, and I don't know. It would decline, then grow, then decline, then grow. Even though I was trying to rehab it from the half dead rack, and I think I'm pretty sure I've got it figured out now. I just spray it every couple of days because it was a little orange mite. It looks very much like the mites that you'll find on Hoya. Occasionally I've seen them on Anthurium. Broad mites or flat mites, whatever you like to call them. That's what this has. So it kind of sits on a shelf all by itself now. But yeah, so even though I'm saying I've had a better time with them this year, even this one, because I can kind of identify what's going on with this one. So I'd rather that than just have them have a random plant randomly decline and you're like, what happened? I was doing everything right. You were. There was just something you couldn't see going on. The next one is actually Hoyas in general, which probably sounds crazy because I had flat mites on a handful of Hoya, and I definitely had root mealies in about a dozen Hoya at the start of this year. This is Hoya Ganungati, and this one had root mealies. And the only way I managed to finally get rid of them was systemic. It's been rough going with this one. I'd also had some actual mealies that I saw on it, but this is new growth here, and then this is new growth up here. I can't say it's doing great. I'm not the best at watering Hoya. I feel like they should take a lot less than I give them. Like, look how dark that leaf is and the weird way it grew. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I've had a better time with these Hoyas than I did in the beginning of the year, and I think that's maybe why I like them so much. They've kind of made a comeback. And then there's Hoya Sergoensis. I don't know how you say that. It's a comeback kid. Don't know what was wrong with it. No mealies, no flat mites, no nothing. It just took its sweet time to grow. These are cuttings. It was 2 cuttings, 2 leaf cuttings, it looks like. So the rest of it's new. In the past 4 months, I'd say, this has grown. Then there's Hoya Carrii, outer variegated, which did nothing for 3 years for no particular reason. Also, so it just started growing this year. I mean, it grew some, but it's curled around itself, and that's just from this year. I think it had maybe 8 leaves. Maybe 10 previously. So it's doing okay now. Still not the fastest grower. I don't know, is this one that needs to be trellised to really do its thing? Not sure, but it is pretty. It is pretty when it's growing. I have the green one too, it's just sitting there. I don't know, Hoya Carrii. And then there's Hoya pubicalyx. This one is just dangling. This is, oh, there's a dead leaf. Don't look at that. No problem with this plant. It might lose a leaf here and there, but it really doesn't care. So this is pubicalyx. I think it's silver pink is what my daughter bought it as. And I've just had this one kind of dangling. Once again, it's not like speed record fast, but it's consistent. It's consistent. It has new leaves even currently since I brought it in from outside. So I'm happy with it. I really love the Hoya pubicalyx. I know a lot of people are just like, eh. But so this is one. This one's probably a couple years old, And it's also new to repotted for the whole entirety of the couple years. But here it is, and it looks not bad. Still grows. No complaints. And then, pardon the lighting, but there's this one that I've had for several years. And it's just so dense on here. And it's never had a mealybug, or if it has, I wouldn't find it in there. I mean, good luck. It's also got vines that are just kind of trailing around everywhere. They're visiting the neighbors. That's a great Hoya. That is, I'm gonna say that's 1.5 to 2 foot trellis, and it's in an 8-inch pot, and it could really go up to a 10-inch pot. And it's that thick all the way around. It's not just, you know, it's not an illusion. It's also about 2 foot wide, 22 inches wide anyway. Yeah. I'm not going to say it never loses a leaf, because it does. It's very, very thirsty. Proof in point. Oh, did you see it fall? But yeah, it's very thirsty, but it's very pretty. Look at that. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It does need a repotting desperately. So maybe I'll get to that this year. I better. So next is going to be Monstera, and not specifically Monstera deliciosa or Ansonii or whatever. But I have enjoyed growing most Monstera in general. This is my Thai Constellation. And I did have, there's 2 in here actually. I had another one. Look at that one. That one's cute. But it rotted. It was rotting the whole time I had it. It was a rehab somebody gave to me. Couldn't do anything with it. These 2 I've never had any problem with, except for white sections. Doing this, which isn't my favorite. It's not my favorite, but it happens. Monsteras are kind of prone to thrips, and I guess they can get spider mites. I don't know if I've really, yeah, I probably have had some, and maybe even mealybugs. But the biggest pesty issue I have on them is definitely thrips. And I find that hosing the whole plant really kind of helps with that. I haven't lost many leaves on this one, but I have one about to go. You can see how old that one is, maybe by how tiny it is over the edge here. That one. That's the first one that the whole leaf is going. That's not bad. I want to say I just got that one. Maybe one of them was in the fall last year and the other was early this spring. I've really enjoyed growing this Monstera Esqueleto. It's been fast. It is growing very, very fast. And it's sized up decently. Like, you can really trace it down how much bigger it's gotten. But once again, it's a Monstera. There we go. So it definitely has had some thrippies. You can kind of see some discoloration, and it's definitely going to be pesty damage. But it's fast. I put it on here probably a couple months ago. Every time I look at it, it's either got a leaf hardening off, like this one, or it's putting out a new one. So, I mean, fast. I've only had this a few months, really. And it was just kind of dangling, which here's one of its friends that's dangling to show the difference. Like, it's so small. It's the same plant, but this one just didn't grab for whatever reason, and this one did. So, I don't know. But I've been enjoying growing that one, especially. And then, pardon the mess, but that's the Monstera Aria. And a lot of it is reverted. This has been beat all to death. This is all from my euphorbia. All these holes are from it, like, slapping in the wind against my euphorbia. But yeah, it is the Aria. It is mostly reverted. Like, this is a new leaf, green. That's a new leaf, green. That's a new leaf under these anthurium leaves. Oh. There we go. Oh, peekaboo. Green. Green. And I'm not that upset about it, really. Does that sound crazy? Look at this one over here into the Atabapoense. That's a big one. Doesn't matter. It's green. That one's not, but I mean the plant overall. It's reverting. I'm not terribly upset because I have about 8 other plants that came from this plant that are not reverting. And is there anything wrong with having a green monstera, even if it is reverted? Like, I didn't pay anything for this, really, over what you'd pay for a normal monstera, so I can't complain. And it's given me a lot of joy between just it growing. Like, that's a huge leaf. I don't know if you can tell. It's ginormous. It's ginormous. But yeah, overall, I'm just saying I've really enjoyed growing it, no matter whether it's reverting or not. I'm just going to let it do what it wants to do. I'm not chopping this particular plant anymore. I'm trying to let it catch back up to, you know, that size again from this little bitty, it might be a foot when it fully expands, if that. 1 foot long, 12 inches. It's okay, because that one there's 2 foot. Another one, because I can't bring it to you, so I'll bring you to it, is Philodendron Atabapoense. This plant has never given me any trouble. The most annoying thing about it is that it gets extra floral nectaries, which I just hosed it off in the shower. So it gets very sticky. The party's in the back. I always say that with this plant. This is its most recent leaf back here. It's looking very good. I love the color. It's green, but it's kind of, I don't know, there's a little bit of like bluish or mint in there. See the extra floral nectaries, that's what I'm trying to show you. Sticky, and it's just been in the shower a couple days ago. But yeah, it never gives me any issue. I can underwater it, overwater it. It's very tolerant of my nonsense, that's what I'll say. But it does not want to grab the pole. It will kind of wrap all around the pole. The aerial roots will go down and root into the pot down there, but they don't really go into the pole so much. They'll go right to it, but not so much into the pole. They hate my pole. But even boo-hooing about that, that's still a great plant. Please don't look at my sad elephant ear. It was just rescued from the out. But anyway, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and I love Philodendron Atabapoense. I bet nobody was thinking I was going to say anything about Philodendron, because I've talked about every other plant, but so far, I still love Philodendron. I do, but I've struggled with a lot this year because of fungal or bacterial issues. Over here in this corner, there's a couple that I haven't struggled with. It's a Gloriosum hybrid right here, and then Philodendron Summer Glory back here. This is the newest leaf. Look how dark. Oh, that's good. That's good. I really like that plant. It's in this ridiculously tiny pot down here. Same as this Gloriosum. It's kind of crawling out of the pot. I don't know if you can see back there. They both have been needing a repot for a long time and haven't gotten it. This is damage from the greenhouse. If I had to guess, Katie did. But, like, oh, it's such a pretty plant. Once again, I have zero problems with this one. This one's very tolerant of everything. Underwatering, overwatering, pests don't seem to bother it too much. This one, on the other hand, thrips, spider mites, mealybugs. Underwater it and see what happens. I'm not good at Gloriosum. Oh, look. Or Gloriosum hybrids. That's a stink bug. I don't know if they actually hurt the plant, but I know they'll leave eggs on it. So I'm going to get him in just a minute. Ew. What was I saying? I'm so distracted now that I saw that bug. I don't know. Gloriosum I find very difficult. Even the hybrid, whatever this one is, it's a flat-stemmed type. It is not choco that's crawling. I'm just showing you the back so you can see it's not red. I don't know what it is exactly, but every other Gloriosum I've had, and I've had a few now, were very round or oval stem. and the veination. The veins were a little bit different. And maybe the thickness of the leaf might have even been different. This is very thick, whatever this is. Doesn't mean I'm growing it well. Better than regular Gloriosa, maybe. But like, look at this. That's Summer Glory, and then the Summer Glory is also all the way over there. And back there. And there. Oh, look at that color. Oof. I love Summer Glory. I do. Stop sleeping on it, y'all. Get you one. I'm telling you. It's a gorgeous plant. It's super easy. Humble opinion. So that's just some of them. I'm sure there's 100 more that I've really enjoyed growing. Like, I don't know, I'm just kind of looking around here and I see some. There's like a Tenanthe Burley Marks. There's a goldfish plant, the variegated goldfish plant. There's Philodendron bilietiae. There's Alocasia, or I'm sorry, I think it's Colocasia Black Magic. Hoya Parasitica Black Margins. Like, there's a lot. I've enjoyed growing my Philodendron Bob C. It's just really hard to get them all into one video. So which ones did you enjoy growing the most this year? Do we have any of the same ones coming? Also my Alocasia Frydek. I didn't even mention that, but like, that's been a big win for me this year to actually get that plant to be more than, you know, a 3-inch leaf, to have a 12-inch leaf on that thing. Maybe somewhere in there, maybe a little bit over, is a victory. For sure. My Florida Beauty, as much as I complain about that, I have enjoyed growing it. I have. It's been a little bit challenging to chase the variegation, and I generally don't love chasing variegation on any plant. I want it to either be variegated or not. It is what it is, I guess. You can only do so much. So share the plants that you enjoyed growing the most in 2024 with me down below, because I love to see what did well for other people, just as I like sharing what did well for me. Thank you for watching, thank you for hanging out, and come back and check me out again soon. Bye.